Welcome to this moment, to this quiet space where you can finally hear what the universe has been whispering. Tonight, let this voice be your slow breath, the pause between all the noise out there. Because sometimes, life shifts softly, almost without warning, and you just know, even if no one says it, something big is coming your way. Maybe it's a sign, a sudden feeling, or just the sense that your heart is beating to a new rhythm. That's how destiny begins to speak. And if you're hearing these words right now, maybe, just maybe, the universe has chosen you to receive what it's about to reveal. So take a breath, close your eyes for a moment, and let your mind open wide. Because right after this silence, you'll begin to understand why everything is moving and why the universe is quietly rearranging the path meant only for you. Aries, life doesn't always shout to get your attention. Sometimes, it simply touches your shoulder gently, like a hand in the middle of the night, whispering that it's time to wake up. Maybe you felt it lately, that nameless restlessness, a strange wind passing through your mind, a soft light flickering in your dreams that makes your heart tremble without knowing why. That's not a coincidence. It's a sacred warning, a message the universe sends only to souls mature enough to listen. You've walked a long road, carrying scars no one else can see, ones only you know. There are moments you've wondered, have I gone too far, or simply lost myself in my own story? But the universe never lets you stay lost. It just turns off the lights for a while, so you can learn to find your way by the glow within. So if things around you have grown quiet lately, don't be afraid. Silence is the language of the divine. When the universe speaks to you, it doesn't use noise, it uses stillness. Every soul feels a subtle tremor before a great transformation, like water before it breaks into waves, like dawn before the first light appears. You are standing in that moment now. The world you once knew can no longer hold the size of your dream because you've outgrown it. You may not yet know what's coming, but deep in your chest, you can feel the shift, small yet real, like the earth breathing beneath your feet, signaling that a new door is about to open. Change is not your enemy. It's simply the bell that rings when your journey is ready to turn. You're not being left behind, you're being guided toward a brighter horizon, where everything that once hurt you becomes your strength. Look back for a moment. Each loss you've faced has taught you to love deeper, to understand yourself clearer, to believe a little more in kindness. Perhaps that's the true gift of destiny. They say the universe only rearranges things when you're ready, so don't panic when everything begins to shift. You might have to release a job, a relationship, or an older version of yourself. But what the universe removes, it always replaces with something more meaningful. Not right away, but exactly when your heart is calm enough to receive it. Everything that's moving now is simply preparing you for the next chapter, a chapter of freedom, of clarity, of becoming who you really are. If there's something heavy on your heart tonight, close your eyes and whisper to yourself, I'm ready to be guided. Because sometimes, you don't need to know where you're going, you just need to know you're no longer standing still. That's the first step of faith. Trust that an invisible hand is rearranging the pieces, and you don't need to control them all. Some things only fall into place when you finally let go. True peace doesn't come from certainty, but from knowing that no matter what happens, you'll still be all right. You've risen so many times before, Aries, and you will rise again. The difference now is that this time, you're not walking alone. The universe walks with you, steadying your compass, filling your sails, gently turning your ship toward light. And within that breeze, something new begins to move. It doesn't roar. It simply touches you softly like the breath of dawn, carrying the scent of beginnings, of roads not yet traveled, of horizons not yet seen. If you can feel it even for a moment, that's your sign. Because before every turning point of destiny, the universe always sends its first whisper, a gentle wind that announces the journey has begun. There are mornings when you wake up, and somehow the air feels different. The light outside the window seems clearer, the wind softer, yet your heart feels heavier. It's a strange feeling, as if something is about to happen. You don't know what it is, you just know you can't go back to how things were. Everything familiar suddenly feels too tight, like an old shirt that no longer fits the person you've become. That's the first sign of a journey, not one that takes you somewhere else, but one that brings you back to yourself. You might still be standing in the same place, but your soul, it's already moving. A small voice inside whispers, "I can't stay here forever." That whisper, that's your soul calling. No one else can hear it. It doesn't rush you. It just taps gently, keeping rhythm with your heartbeat. And if you're quiet enough to listen, you'll realize it's not anxiety. It's an invitation. An invitation to step beyond what's familiar, to see something you've never dared to dream. Most people think a journey begins when they leave home. But the truth is, it begins the moment you decide to leave your fear, to leave the comfort of what's safe, to leave the story you once believed was all you could be. Sometimes, all it takes is one deep breath, one small act of courage, and you've already begun to move, even if your feet haven't. The world has its own way of waking up souls that are ready to change. It sends you subtle signs. A friend you haven't heard from in years suddenly reaches out. A conversation lingers in your mind longer than usual. A dream feels so vivid it stays with you all day. Those aren't coincidences. They're the universe's whispers, telling you that something new is opening ahead. You only need the courage to take one more step, even if you can't yet see where it leads. Along the way, you'll have to pack many things, not just luggage, but the emotions that have weighed you down. You'll carry your fears to learn how to face them. You'll carry your faith to learn where it truly belongs. And you'll carry the strongest version of yourself even if you don't yet realize how strong you've become. That's how the soul is reborn, not by running from the past, but by walking straight through it, eyes open, heart calm. Maybe this journey won't take you somewhere far away. Maybe it will simply take you back to a place you forgot, the place of presence, of gratitude, of being fully alive. Every road you walk, long or short, is a mirror. It reflects not where you're going, but who you are becoming. And in that reflection, you'll see both what you've lost and what has quietly remained. Don't rush to find meaning. Don't try to make everything make sense. A spiritual journey doesn't follow a map, it follows the breath of your soul. Walk softly, one step at a time, and keep a tender heart. When you do, every small moment along the way becomes a little miracle, enough to light the next stretch of your path. Life has a way of testing those who are on the edge of change. It will send you trials that feel unfair, just to see if you're ready to keep walking. But beneath every challenge lies divine design. Because if you pay attention, you'll notice the biggest doors often open right after the moments you thought you couldn't take anymore. So let yourself be led by a gentle faith. Trust that every breath, every meeting, every weary day carries meaning you may not yet understand. And one day, when you look back, you'll see it was the uncertain steps you took today that led you to the peace of tomorrow. Somewhere in the evening wind, something new is beginning to stir. It's still fragile, like the first light filtering through the trees. But if you open your heart, you'll feel it. A quiet movement, subtle but sure, telling you that destiny is rearranging itself. And as the wind of change begins to rise, it always carries with it the meeting point between fate and choice, where all energies begin to collide. Sometimes, life doesn't change with thunder, but with a single, quiet moment you almost overlook. A nod, a step forward, a signature, a word spoken into silence. And suddenly, the river of your life takes a new turn. You're standing at that threshold now, Aries. The moment when every energy around you, the old that wants to be released, and the new that's asking to be born, begins to collide. It isn't loud, but you can feel it. Your heartbeat quickens, your breath shortens, and something inside you whispers, "This is the moment." Maybe it's a contract, a decision, a choice you've been delaying for too long. Or maybe there's no paper at all, only an agreement you're making with your own soul. From this moment on, I will live truthfully. From this moment on, I will no longer fear. From this moment on, I choose peace. Those invisible signatures often hold more power than any ink on a page. Because once you choose differently in your heart, the entire universe begins to rearrange itself around that truth. A decision is the doorway between two worlds, one you've known and one you haven't yet met. Most people fear walking through it, afraid of losing control. But here's the truth. No, choice is truly safe. There are only choices that make you more honest with yourself. When you choose what makes your soul bloom, even if the path is rough, you'll still find your way. If you're standing at a crossroads right now, pause. Don't let the noise of the world push you into signing while your heart is still trembling. Place your hand over your chest. Listen, your heartbeat knows. Your soul knows. When you're at peace, the decision will reveal itself. If you're still in chaos, it's not time yet. Because choices made in fear always close doors, and fear never leads you to freedom. Let every choice in your life be born from light, not from shadow. Choose because you trust, not because you're afraid to lose. Choose because you want to live fully, not because you need to prove your worth. When you choose through love, every outcome becomes a blessing. But when you choose through panic, even if you win, you'll feel like you've lost. Do you remember the last time you made a choice that changed everything? Maybe it was walking away, starting over, or forgiving. What guided you then, fear or faith? Remember that feeling, because that is the compass that will carry you through this moment too. The universe doesn't test you to break you. It tests you to see if you've grown enough to choose right even when no one applauds, even when no one understands. And sometimes, choosing right doesn't mean choosing easy. It means choosing what makes you real. If you've been waiting for a sign to know you're on the right path, this is it. There's no such thing as a perfect decision. But when you choose from a quiet heart, no matter where it leads, you'll end up in the light. Because every road built on truth always leads home. So, breathe, slowly. Don't rush to sign something just to please someone or to silence the fear of losing. Peace is never found in haste. It appears only when you stop, take a deep breath, and listen to the gentle voice within. Every choice is a lesson, and behind every decision, even the smallest one, there's a deeper story your soul is longing to tell. You may not hear it clearly yet, but one day you will look back and understand. The moment you chose that path, you were choosing your life all over again. And when the waves settle, when the dust of your thoughts begins to fall, what remains is stillness, soft, pure like the sound of your heart after the rain. And within that stillness, a deeper lesson is waiting. Because behind every great decision, there is always a truth your soul is ready to learn. You don't always have to travel far to find a lesson. Sometimes, the greatest wisdom you'll ever learn lies quietly in the still space between two breaths. In that silence, there is no one else, only you, and the voice of your soul you've ignored for far too long. All your life, you've been taught how to listen, but mostly to others, to advice, to judgment, to expectations. You've tried so hard to become what someone needed you to be that you forgot who you already are. You've spent so much energy proving your worth that you forgot it never needed proof. It has always been there, like the light hidden inside a gem. All it needs is a little dust wiped away, and it shines again. Now, the universe is asking you to pause. Place your hand over your heart and ask, what is my inner voice trying to say? You might be surprised to realize it's still there, patient, gentle, unwavering. It doesn't command or judge. It simply whispers, you already know what to do. But to hear it, you must quiet the noise of fear, of comparison, of trying to appear right in someone else's eyes. Peace isn't found when the world around you goes silent. Peace is found when you recognize the true voice within you, even in the middle of chaos. It's not the stillness of the world that matters. It's the stillness inside you. When you begin to trust that voice, you stop asking for permission to live your truth. You'll know when to say yes when your soul blooms open, and you'll know when to say no when your energy quietly pulls back. That is the art of living, choosing what nourishes you instead of what slowly dims your light. You don't need to be strong all the time. You just need to be honest. Honesty, that's real strength. When you follow your heart's voice, the world begins to change, not because it truly changes, but because you see it differently. Through the eyes of someone who no longer fears being disliked, being left behind, or being wrong. That's when you realize life has never been against you. It was only waiting for you to stand on your own side. Maybe you've grown used to doubting yourself. You've been taught that intuition is just imagination. But think back, how many times in your life was your heart right? How many times did it try to protect you, only for you not to trust it enough? That's not coincidence. That's ancient wisdom inside you, the quiet knowing that doesn't need words but always knows the way home. This modern world has made us afraid of silence because in silence, we have no one left to blame. But it's in that silence where the answers live. When the mind stops arguing, the soul begins to sing. And that song, soft and steady, is the map back to where you truly belong. If you're torn between two directions right now, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, am I choosing this because I trust or because I fear? The first answer that rises in your chest, that's the truth. It comes quickly, clear as lightning. But you must be brave enough to believe it, because intuition always moves one step ahead of logic. Remember, you don't need anyone to validate what your soul already knows. When you learn to listen within, everything outside starts to quiet down. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. You become grounded, lighter, and clearer. And maybe, as that trust deepens, you'll notice something miraculous. The universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in synchronicities. A sign, a sudden meeting, a familiar feeling in an unfamiliar place. Every time you follow your inner calling, the universe takes a step toward you. Let trust become the rhythm of your breath. Because when you believe in yourself, you don't just change your own life, you become a mirror for others to find their courage too. And when your inner light is lit again, it doesn't stop at you. It reaches out, illuminating the path for those still finding their way. That's the magic moment when your heart has learned to tell the truth, and life itself begins to respond with movement, with opportunity, and with gentle changes quietly unfolding before your eyes. Everything in your life is moving, even if, on the surface, it still looks quiet. Sometimes, the deepest changes don't make a sound. They happen silently, like underground rivers reshaping the earth, unseen, unstoppable. You're in that season now when an old cycle is closing, and a new chapter is quietly beginning to unfold. You may feel uneasy, as if you're standing at a crossroads with no map that makes sense anymore. The familiar is fading. The plans you once believed were solid now feel uncertain. But uncertainty doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're finally being honest, no longer driven by habit, but guided by the call of your soul. When your true self begins to rise, the world around you must shift to match it. Some doors close not because you failed, but because you no longer belong behind them. Some people leave not as losses, but as releases. Trust that everything is being rearranged to bring you closer to the energy that truly fits who you've become. Growth is rarely gentle. That trembling, that confusion, that sense of instability, they're not signs of weakness. They're proof that you're shedding an old skin. Like a seed cracking open in the dark before it meets the light, you are expanding. The trembling isn't fear, it's life itself, pulsing through you, reminding you that even when you're tired, you're still moving forward. If you pay attention, you'll notice that the universe is beginning to respond. Little signs, new faces, unexpected opportunities, all arriving right on time. Someone mentions an idea that lights you up. A message arrives. An invitation appears. A small gift finds its way to you. This is life's way of whispering, "I hear you." Your reward is coming closer, not just in the form of money or success, but in the quiet joy of being seen after years of unseen effort. It's the relief of realizing that no waiting was ever wasted. When you give from sincerity, the universe never lets you walk away empty-handed. And if that gift takes the shape of financial abundance, a new job, or a fresh opportunity, receive it with gratitude, not fear. Money is not a reward for luck, it's the reflection of energy you've poured out with heart and persistence. Let it flow naturally without rush, without worry, without grasping. More than anything, you're learning to trust the process. Life doesn't follow the timeline of reason, it moves to the rhythm of your soul. When you're ready within, what you need will always find its way to you. Be patient. Sometimes all it takes is one more sunrise and the flower you've been tending all winter will finally bloom. If you find yourself standing at a crossroads, ask, which part of me is ready to begin again? The question may quiet you, but in that stillness, a door will open. Not every beginning is bright, but every beginning carries a seed of light. As long as you keep a little hope alive, the universe will keep sending you signs of love. And one day, you'll understand all this movement around you wasn't meant to confuse you. It was guiding you home, back to your own center. And in that moment, something soft will begin to open inside you like the first morning after a long rain. A gentle breath, a warmth spreading through your chest, a heart quietly unfolding. Because when the world outside starts to change, your heart will awaken too in its most tender, loving form. Sometimes, the doors of the heart don't close out of anger, they close because they need quiet to heal. And then one day, when the wounds have finally sealed, you hear a soft knock, not from someone else, but from love itself returning, in an entirely new form. It might be someone who once walked out of your life. Or it might be a part of you, the one you left behind while trying to be strong. Whoever it is, this return isn't meant to reopen the past, but to close it with light. There may be a conversation calm, unforced, free of old tension. Just two souls meeting again, looking at each other through new eyes. You'll realize no apology is needed anymore, because you no longer live where the pain once did. That person may not come back to stay, but to show you how much you've grown. Like visiting your old home and realizing the chair that once felt too tall now fits perfectly. Everything looks the same except you. And sometimes, seeing that alone is enough to heal you. Forgiveness is not the act of excusing someone's mistakes, it's the journey of freeing your soul. You forgive not because they deserve it, but because you're tired of carrying what no longer belongs to you. When you release the grip of old pain, you don't lose anything. You simply become lighter. And in that weightlessness, your heart begins to breathe again. If you have someone beside you now, this is a sacred moment to choose each other again, not out of habit, but out of awareness. Look at them not with the eyes of judgment, but with gratitude. Because true love doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be chosen. Every single day, even on the hard ones. Sometimes, one quiet hand held, one whispered, "I'm still here," is enough to warm an entire winter. And if you're walking alone, don't mistake solitude for emptiness. Loneliness is not a void, it's space for your soul to return to itself. Trust that you are on a homecoming journey, not toward another person, but toward the version of you who once loved with innocence and truth. And when you are finally at peace, real love will arrive not like a storm, but like morning light, gentle, warm, and sure. Love never leaves you. It only changes form. When you learn to love yourself, to love life, to love each breath you take, even without someone by your side, you become whole. Because in that moment, you stop searching for love and realize you are it. Let your heart be free in its honesty. Don't fear opening up just because you once got hurt. Old wounds didn't come to teach you fear, they came to teach you worth. And you, my dear, are worthy of a love that doesn't make you doubt yourself, that doesn't ask you to shrink just to fit. Maybe someone from your past will reappear, or maybe you'll meet someone new who makes you smile without reason. Whoever it is, welcome them with the wisdom of one who knows love doesn't come to fill you, it comes to mirror you. When you love, you don't lose anything, you expand. So soften a little. Be still for a while. Give love a chance to walk in, not with excitement, but with a gentle faith. Because true love doesn't shout, it touches softly, and it stays. And if you're hearing these words tonight, maybe this is the message meant for you. Let your heart awaken, not to search, but to remember that it still knows how to love, how to trust, how to smile. Because in the moment you open your heart, another kind of energy begins to move, quiet, deep, sacred, like a call from within, leading you to the deeper layer of your soul, where your true purpose begins to speak. No one ever steps into the light without first walking through the dark. Those days when you thought you were lost were not wasted. They were the quiet hours in which your soul was being shaped. Every pain that once brought you to your knees, every silence born of loss, all of it has become a flame in your heart. And now, as you look back, you can finally say, I understand why it had to happen. You are no longer the Aries you once were. The universe never took you in circles. It led you along the exact path of growth. Every challenge was a class, every heartbreak, a test. And now that you've endured, your soul is beginning to call, not to pull you backward, but to help you rise into your true purpose. That purpose isn't a mountain to climb or a crown to win. It's a path you've quietly been walking all along. It might simply mean bringing light to others, inspiring through your own story, or reminding someone they can survive too. True guidance needs no title, only truth. When you speak from lived experience, every scar becomes a prayer, and every tear becomes medicine. There is a sacred feminine presence walking beside you, soft as wind, warm as late afternoon light. It could be your mother, who loved you more than she ever said, or your grandmother, who once held your hand in silence. Perhaps it's a guardian spirit from beyond. Whether you believe it or not, they're here in your breath, in the calm that wraps around you when you thought you were alone. They are the whisper that reaches you just as you're about to give up, and somehow you choose to keep going. Strong souls are not born in peace. They are forged in time, in waiting, in wounds deep enough to understand the pain of others. If you've ever wondered why your life hasn't been easy, maybe it's because you were chosen to be the one who lights the lamp for those still wandering. Only those who've known the night can truly describe the light. When you understand this, you'll see that everything that broke you was preparing you. Nothing came to punish you, it came to make you ready. The universe never wanted you to suffer. It only wanted you to become strong enough to carry your light into the world. And this world, Aries, needs you not as a perfect being, but as someone real who has fallen, risen, and learned how to love again. Awakening doesn't happen overnight. It's a quiet unfolding. You'll notice yourself becoming calmer, more grateful, less afraid. The things that used to shake you now make you smile. That's when you know your energy has shifted from reacting to understanding, from seeking to simply being. If you're hearing these words right now, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and listen to your soul. What is it saying? You might hear a whisper, I'm ready. Ready for a life that feels real. Ready for a journey not just to live, but to give. The world doesn't need more perfection, it needs truth. And you are that truth shaped by fire, carrying the light of compassion. In the instant you understand that, everything that once fell apart will begin to fit together. Each broken piece will reveal itself as part of a larger design, the shape of your destiny. You no longer need to search, because you have become the answer. And as that realization spreads through you, you'll feel something almost indescribable, a gentle warmth radiating from your chest, a peace settling into your bones. It feels as though someone places a loving hand on your shoulder and whispers, "It's all right now. You've found your way home." Take a deep breath and feel the gentle rhythm of your own heart. Everything that once hurt you, everything that once brought you to tears, has now become a perfect piece in the grand design of your life. Nothing was ever meaningless. Every person you met, every road you walked, every season you lived with all your heart, each one was part of the miracle that is you. Allow yourself a moment to rest, to feel the warmth of gratitude filling your chest, grateful for still being here, for daring to believe, to love, to begin again even after so many times you've fallen. Life has never been a straight line. It's a spiral of light, and with every turn, you come closer to who you truly are. Now, as you stand in this quiet moment, bow your head softly, not in weakness, but in understanding, because you finally know everything that happens carries meaning. And only through gratitude does life truly bloom. Thank you, Aries, for listening with your whole heart. May your path ahead be filled with peace, with love, and with gentle blessings soft as the morning light.